Day in the life of a designer. Feel me? Just getting out of work. What we're going to talk about today is fashion is more than clothing. We've been tapping into the behind the scenes aspects of, dreams of rulers. We've also talked about, from the mud, what it is, what it stands for, and, how you can relate to the collection, poetry, and other pieces as well, too. Hold up 1 second, though. Gotta go grab my headphone. Goddamn. So I fucking hate working. Need to have my own crib. Just chilling in the crib, working instead of working for somebody else. Yeah, what we're gonna talk about today is fashion. It's way more than just clothes. Give me 1 second. My bad, I forgot my headphones. I'll see you next week, Chef. See you next week, Chef. Alright, so we back at it. So first and foremost, when you're thinking about, fashion being more than clothes, when you look at clothes is like a business. It's an entity that exists. It's physical properties. But at the end of the day, fashion is the culture, the identity, the expression of something, of that entity that emulates your emotions, how you move, what you are about, your moral code, and more. You feel me? Like, fashion is the expression. Clothes are just, physical entities that you put on your back and your ass. You gotta understand the difference. It's just like, when people talk about having a brand, you can have a brand in a business, but both of those things are two, different things, even though they, work together. They work together. They don't even work, individually, unless you're talking about a brand specifically. But the thing is that with clothes, anybody can just sell clothes the same as, selling food, selling, any physical product on this earth. But at the end of the day, when you want something to last long, when you want people to not only grab that product, support the brand that, you're representing or, you own, you gotta have a message. You gotta have a story behind the product. Why you created a product, how you created the product, where the product comes from. You know what I'm saying? Who's the product for? And why will they need that product? Those are the questions you need to be asking yourself before you actually develop a product. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. You know what I'm saying? Those are very important questions because you implement those questions in just about anything that you're doing, you're going to get some solid answers or solutions to, problems you might be trying to solve. But ultimately, it will lead you to creating a collection that is more than the fabrics that you're, putting together. See, the design process goes into making samples, getting fabrics, and, other materials. And even in that, materials and fabrics are not the same things. You know what I'm saying? Fabric is, material. Not material, but linen and, satin, shit like that. And you got, materials like twill and hemp and shit like that. So, there's a whole lot of aspects of clothes that people, even in the design space, don't even understand. Because like I said yesterday, a lot of people claim to be self-taught. And the way society moves, it's not always a great thing. It's great that you went out on your own and, had the courage to do it. But at the same time, the principles that are needed in order to succeed may not be there because you don't have the proper experience. And then on top of that, probably didn't get the proper information that you needed to move forward and scale. But the clothes become more and become fashion when you implement different color panels, a solid message behind everything that the brand, is and stands for. Then on top of that, topic lines that are relatable to people's lives, that are life-changing. You know what I'm saying? But again, also relates with the brand. You feel what I'm saying? When you do certain things like that, where say you had like a special moment on 4th of July and it helped you to start your brand because of that special moment, that's something nostalgic that you can present to your audience on a consistent basis every 4th of July comes up. It'll get to even the point when you become very creative that you start to set up events for that joint, certain products for that joint. You know what I'm saying? And based off of the specific situation, you design a piece around it on the day, and now it becomes not only your memory, but possibly multiple memories. You know what I'm saying? Memories for other people. Because now they're like, oh shit, they're not thinking of it as 4th of July, Independence Day. They're thinking of it as, such and such as day. You feel me? That's how you start to, overcome, the trends and, the algorithms and the BS everybody be talking about when it comes to, selling a solid and a successful product. But ultimately, like I said yesterday, it's okay to be on par with trends, but at the same time, you also, should understand that if you are about to drop a certain collection, yeah, there should be certain things that, are on par with the trends, maybe, but ultimately, they're all on par with your customer and your audience. Like, that's all that matters. That's why, as an entrepreneur, we collect all this data as far as like emails, phone numbers. You know what I'm saying? When y'all make purchases, we get the email, phone number, address, shit like that. Because number one, it tells you who the person is and where they're at. 9 times out of 10, where they're at kind of defines who the person is outside of, special interests. So it helps you to create a culture based off of your demographic. That's why, it's very important to, you know, learn other aspects of life while you're on this journey, especially if you're fresh and you're starting out in, the fashion game. Experience life first, bro. Similar to how I tell my nephew who's a rapper, bro, and he's the singer as well. Tell him all the time, like, because he just want to focus in on his music, but he in the military. I'm like, Brody, like, you gotta focus in on where you at right now, because there's going to be certain lessons that develop you into the person that you need to be once you reach that plateau. You feel me? A lot of times we're in the situations that we're in because we're learning how to be better. And the reason why a lot of people go through the same shit over and over again is because they never learned the first lesson. Feel me? So when you start to tap into life, you actually start to learn, situations, enjoy certain moments, go certain places that you've never been or never, heard or fully experienced before. And you come back with new experiences, you're able to share it with the rest of the community, which is the world. You know what I'm saying? From your perspective. Creates that story, and in turn, that story, based on how adventurous, entertaining it is presented, can change lives. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was saying yesterday, I love that aspect of storytelling, because literally, even though you're telling something of truth, when you're creative, you can tap into so many different emotions, whether it be one or multiple. You know what I'm saying? You can literally, be talking about the struggle, but, within the struggle, you had moments where you and your homies or you and your siblings had moments of happiness, laughter. You was able to shake off the downfalls you was, living. But, the main thing is understanding that with how you design, clothes, it should start out with something of meaning, because that's going to help you to build longevity for your brand, longevity within the group of supporters or community of supporters that you have, and it just starts to build a solid legacy of not only where people see you beyond yourself, but see the, fruits of your labor. They start to see, the different chapters in your story. They start to see where you came from. And as they engage more and more, the more that story becomes their story. Because the more that you succeed after that, the more like they feel like they done succeeded as well too. Similar to how the New York Knicks won the championship. You know what I'm saying? I ain't won one in 53 years. 54 if you want to be technically correct. Feel me? That's my favorite team too. But at the same time, the city was so much up in an uproar. Not necessarily, from that, but just like a culmination of, negative energy. And basketball was a definer for the city. So once we started to reach a certain level of success, started to, alleviate, de-stress those that had been riding so long. You know what I'm saying? that seen the struggles, the lows, the lowest of low points. You know what I'm saying? They was able to, experience some high moments as well too. You know what I mean? Like with certain players and, certain runs. Even though it wasn't, the ultimate run, but it was still runs. Sometimes that's what keeps, things alive. It's like, say you design a piece, but it's a trendy type piece, and you just do it just to, keep views coming in. But at the same time, if you're not doing it with the mindset that, hey, this still aligns with everything we're doing, then you just wasted your time because you're taking away from the energy that you've been putting in. Now, what you're putting out is starting to become a fake entity. You feel what I'm saying? That's why it's important to be thorough. It's important to, speak, move, and demonstrate with purpose, intent. When you are creating, you want to create from a positive mindset, a positive space. It's like how my homie Shiz always say about cooking and being a chef. Like, if you don't love what you're doing, then it's going to come out in your food every fucking time. Like, if you don't love making food, the love is going to be expressed in how much you love making food in your next meal or your meals, especially if you are coming from a place of, attitude or just straight negativity with it or laziness. You know what I'm saying? When you don't give things effort, when you don't give things care, deep thought, consistency, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, you don't get that shit love, then what we doing it for, bro? Honestly, I honestly ask myself that question when it comes to, like, when I see everybody else. Because honestly, what I'm doing it for is to be the best. I want to be, unanimous, what's that shit? Unanimously voted as the best fashion designer, best entrepreneur ever known to man. You know what I'm saying? I know it takes work. I know it takes time. I know it takes, certain things to happen and align. But ultimately, that's the goal and that's the mission and that's how we move. You feel me? So that's the same, not necessarily the same mindset, but you gotta, sit down with yourself, assess the levels that you are at, and then once you're able to actually assess things from a realistic, mindset, then you start to attack the levels that, you feel like are possible. And then even the ones that aren't possible, once you reach the ones that are possible, you feel me? That's how it works. You build your confidence up, and then once you got the confidence, because confidence is only knowing. Doubt is fear. Like when you really learn what things mean in life, you'll learn those two things. Confidence is only knowing, having wisdom. Wisdom is action, and fear is doubt. That's why people, when they're scared, they ball up. They stay in one place. They be in a fetal position, figuratively and literally in life. When somebody is confident, they walk with their chest out, even with arrogance. So it's just a matter of understanding what things are, how to move, and how to really gather the things that are in between. I hate my pops, but one thing he always used to say is you gotta read between the lines. And in life, there's a lot of gray areas. And when you're designing clothes, it's even more gray areas. You feel me? So make sure that you designing clothes that you actually like, care, and enjoy, and feel special when you put it on, because it's gonna make somebody else feel special as well too. Believe me, man. Like, my first collection was used in the trap, but for my brand, the first t-shirt I ever made was in my next. And that joint touched a lot of people. Even if if I honestly just had the mindset just to sell them joints in the beginning, probably would have been crazy numbers. But, shit happens to all of us. And it's part of the process that we got to learn from. And that's ultimately the game, you know what I'm saying? As you go on this journey, you're going to learn a lot of things. I'm pretty sure a lot of you already know that, fashion is more than clothes. It's an energy, it's a vibe, it's a whole mindset, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately, what I learned with clothes is that, you put something on that feels good, looks good, you know what I'm saying? You gonna feel good, you gonna do good, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna demonstrate how you carry your energy out in the world, at least for that day, you know what I'm saying, or why you had that outfit on. Or might even, once you take the outfit back off, you know what I'm saying, you still gonna carry that same energy because you didn't absorb what it was carrying that whole time. So, it's just about understanding the game, baby. But about to take it down, tired as hell. About to, smoke one, then go in the house. But I'll be back on this joint tomorrow, probably around the same time, maybe a little earlier. But, and we got to record, a lot of fashion as well, too. So, we probably going to do a live stream at the venue spot tomorrow. Catch, the behind the scenes of actually recording an episode along with the prep work that goes into it as well, too. So, definitely tap into the live tomorrow around 12 noon. And I hope to see y'all there. Keep visualizing your purpose. I'm out.